Hello and welcome. My name is Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind the Country Chic Cottage. So y'all, needlepoint is really having its day. If you have been around any place at all, you will know that needlepoint crafting has blown up. So much so, in fact, that Needlepoint Canvas has been in a nationwide shortage. So many people are doing needlepoint. So I picked it up again. I used to do cross stitch way back in the day, but I picked up needlepoint again recently and just started doing some things, and I was shocked at how much hand painted canvases are. I mean, it's an art, but they are so expensive. So a canvas about this size at your local needlepoint store might go for $60 to $100. This large one could go for anywhere from like $150 to $200, depending on the designer, the size, all that kind of stuff. But they are very pricey. So I decided to come up with a way to make them at home, and surprise, sublimation is the answer. So we are going to make sublimation needlepoint canvases, and yes, each of the ones that I'm showing you, I have sublimated myself right here in my craft room, so you can make a wide variety of sizes, designs, all right at home with your sublimation printer. Now, I have used a variety of brands of needlepoint canvas for this project. I used 2 different brands off Amazon, like off brands, and then I did find some DMC to test as well. So it does need to be the needlepoint canvas, but a variety of brands work for this. And then you just need a few more supplies and you can be making your own needlepoint canvases right at home. So I am very, very excited about the possibilities for this one. And I can't wait to try some of these, like the small bow guy. Like, I'm gonna try that one right away because I already have plans for it. But some of these others, I can't wait to give them a try. So let's dive right in and take a look at the supplies we're gonna use for this project. To do this project, you will need needlepoint canvas. So I have tried 3 different brands with this, including DMC, and they have all worked. Now, I've only tried needlepoint canvas. So needlepoint canvas is cotton. However, they add something to the fabric to make it very, very stiff. Whatever they're adding to that fabric seems to accept sublimation. So if you try this same technique with something like a cross stitch fabric or something besides needlepoint canvas, I'm not sure if it will work. So you definitely need needlepoint canvas. This happens to be a 12 count because they didn't have 13 count, but these other 2 brands are 13 count. And then I have protective paper, heat resistant tape, heat resistant mat, and some type of heat source. I'm gonna use a super small heat press today because I feel like that will be approachable, but any type of heat source, it needs to go up to 390 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you will need some type of masking tape. And then I like to use some type of light pad to line up my print with the grid lines on my canvas. So I do recommend a light pad. I feel like it makes it a bit easier. And then finally, very important, you will need a sublimation print. So this is sublimation ink printed on sublimation paper from a sublimation printer. So this is a special type of ink that is going to make this entire process possible. And then of course you will need some type of design. So let's talk about the design first. So I like to start in Canva with a custom size of 8.5 by 11, which is the size of a sheet of paper. Now you can look for designs on Creative Fabrica or you can look right in Canva, but what you're looking for is going to be similar. So let's say I want a lemon. I am going to choose graphics, and you can also use some of these other sort functions to sort a little bit. So geometric often works really well for me. Something like scrapbook might work really well. So you can use some of these sort features to sort your elements. But what you're looking for is a simple design. Say this is a simple design, but if I was to make it really small, it probably wouldn't work very well for needlepoint. So you are looking for something that will work well with needlepoint as you're looking through these. And that's why I say often, like if I sort by geometric, a lot of these designs are going to work much better. Like this very simple lemon would probably work really well. However, these lines on this leaf might not translate over to needlepoint very well. Whereas something like this lemon might work okay, but again, these lines might not transfer over, so you may lose those lines. So some of the more detailed lines, if you're okay losing those, you might choose that as your design. Another tip is to sort like book icon and add icon to the search terms. And even if I get rid of this filter, you can see that I'm getting really simple designs once I say book icon. So that's another trick. If you're searching Creative Fabrica, you might put in SVG or even vector behind your search term, and you often get simpler designs that way. So say I'm looking for something like a goose with a bow. Instead of choosing this goose, which has these outlines around it, I would probably choose this goose. This one doesn't have as many detailed lines and would be way easier for needlepoint. So I do think this is something you'll probably learn over time. Now, you can absolutely put a design into something like Stitchly and come away with something that will work great for needlepoint. But if you're just getting started and want to just look for a simple design on Canva or Creative Fabrica, just look for something with simple elements. I am going to show you several that I did sublimate, but I came up with a couple of bookmark designs that I think will translate well. And I wanted to show you these because I tend to put a box or a background behind the design. This is going to help you align it with the canvas when sublimating. So let's say this design by itself, it doesn't have any linear edges for me to line it up. I might be able to line up the shelves across a couple of the lines, but having something that is vertical and horizontal and comes to a corner will help you with the alignment, I have found. So I generally put a background on mine. And then I did also want to say, if possible, a dark background will work better. However, I picked a couple of somewhat light colors for these two examples, and I will show you how those will work as well. So once you have your design, if you are using Canva, you will download it as a PDF for print, and I like to use CMYK and download. And then you'll go ahead and print on your Sublimation printer using Sublimation ink on Sublimation paper. So I'm going to start with my Sublimation print. And what I like to do is to trim this fairly close to the print. I am leaving a small white edge, so I'm not cutting into that print at all. Now, if you have a very dark background, you might not even need to do this trimming portion, but this will help if your background is a light color. So I'm going to go ahead and trim all four sides. And then you'll want to trim your canvas. Now, you're going to want several inches on the outside of your canvas, so I often add like 1.5 inches or so on the sides. And for this one, this area is already that wide, so I think I'm going to leave it. And then I'm going to make probably this about there. And what I do is use the lines of the canvas to keep everything straight and just cut an oversized piece. I have my heat resistant mat down, and I have this little heat press set to 390 degrees for 45 seconds. The first thing I'm going to do is just run this over it. I have found that a lot of these brands of canvas, they tend to hold moisture. So this pre-press will sort of press that moisture out of there. And when I lift this up, you might even be able to see some moisture on here. So I'm just going to flip this over, let that moisture be underneath. And now I have a flat piece of canvas. So now I have my light pad. Yes, it is on. And I'm going to add the Sublimation print with the print side up to the light pad. And what I like to do is take 2 pieces of heat resistant tape and put them where the sticky side is up, and they are just slightly on the back. And that way I can press that down in a minute after I get everything lined up. So everything is ready, and now I can just sort of set the canvas over the top. And I'm literally going to try to line this up. Again, I like the corners for lining things up. And I'm also at the same time trying to get it approximately in the middle. It doesn't exactly matter, but I am trying to approximate the middle as well. Okay, so I have it lined up pretty good on one side, pretty good across the top. And I am just sort of taking my time here and triple checking that everything seems to be lined up. You can make small adjustments if you need to. Once I think I have it pretty good, I'm going to press down where those pieces of tape are, and then flip the entire thing over. and add some more tape to hold it into place. Then you'll need protective paper. Don't skip the protective paper here because this is going to go through the canvas where the holes are. So I'm going to add protective paper, then the canvas with the sublimation print on top, then another piece of protective paper. Now, if your heat press is not big enough to press all this at once, it's fine. I've done some large ones, didn't have any issue. So for this one, I'm going to press this twice. 390 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 seconds. So I'm going to press in one area. When that time's up, I'll just move it and press in the second area. It is okay if it overlaps. I am applying like a light to medium pressure, so I am holding down on the heat press. Once you remove the press, you can remove your protective paper and then just peel back your sublimation print, and your design has been transferred to your canvas. And then you are gonna have ink like on this paper, so we're gonna toss that. To finish this off, I like to add just masking tape around these outside edges, just so it doesn't fray like while you're working on it. So we'll just add masking tape to all 4 of the edges to finish the project. So here are these 2 canvases complete. So I did want to say like where you overlap, I overlapped right in here on this one. The outside that is white discolored a little bit. So you can see like this is off-white. So it's like a scorching from the heat because this is cotton. Now, generally, like if you spray it with peroxide, you can remove those scorch marks. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm stitching these myself. I am going to stitch around here, and this is the only portion I'm going to use. You're not even going to be able to see this area in the final project. This one, I concentrated on overlapping it as little as possible, and you can just barely see right in the middle. There is just a slight discoloration right in the center. Now you could play around with the time and temperature as well and see if you could reduce the temperature, reduce the time to make that effect a little bit better. But like I said, I only get it in areas where I overlap. I don't get it if I'm just pressing a canvas. And then I not only made these, but I've made several other canvases. So I did want to show you that you can use this on small canvases. You can use it on, you know, something like this that's a large square. I did some dark backgrounds that turned out great. And yes, I even did a very, very large canvas. There's, in comparison with my hand, a very large canvas. So I will say that, I mean, while these aren't perfect, I could definitely stitch these. You may have to pay attention as you're going in certain areas, kind of make some decisions as you go along. You know, should this be orange or should this be green? However, this works really well, and for a budget-friendly canvas option, I am just absolutely in love with this technique. All right, so now you saw just how easy it was to sublimate your own needlepoint canvases. So making your own DIY needlepoint canvas is never been easier. I've seen people make these a variety of ways because like hand painting them. So first of all, you can purchase hand painted ones, very expensive. Hand painting them on your own can be very tedious. If you want to go that route, that's a great way to make your own as well. But I have seen people like trying to run the canvas through a printer, and that is, I feel like, hit or miss on the location. So I was thinking about the different machines I have in my crafting space, because combining machines with my favorite grandma hobbies is going to be like the overall theme of 2026 for me. So combining the sublimation printer with this craft, I thought was perfect, and using the light box is what I used to line up those grid lines helps a little bit. It helps to line those up and make it more like a canvas you would buy at the store. Now, are these perfect? They are not going to be perfect. I do feel like the larger it is, so this large one, it's probably going to be easier to stitch this one. Of course, it's going to take a long time to stitch a large canvas. So the smaller it is, you're going to have to make some judgment calls as far as like which color should that line be. But if you are willing to make those judgment calls as you are doing your project, I think this is a very affordable way to make your own DIY canvases. So now, if you have any questions about anything we've covered, drop down in the comment section, ask away. If you liked this video, it helped you, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, head on over to my YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. I have crafty videos every week, and like I said, grandma hobbies, and machine crafting together theme of 2026. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of those. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.